I was just checking the video last time. I had to make sure it recorded right, and the sound is a little soft, but it's the middle of the morning, barely 6 a.m., so I'll have to talk quiet. Um, what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit of science, a little bit of religion, and connect the two, and math as well, math theory. So recently I saw this video. I'll post the channel on the description, um, about a lot of things. Planck's constant, the smallest measurement that there can be in this universe. Also, geometric shapes that correlate to 3D, 2D, and 4D. And what else was there? There was a diamond type of lattices, they're called, and projections from a lattice onto like a shadow of a lattice. There's a light here, there's a lattice here, like a cube with tubes to make just a grid pattern, cube pattern of multiple cubes expanded, and then the shadow of the cube. And what the shadow of the cube is called something. I'll post the video in the description, and you can watch it. It's really interesting. But what the point they were getting at is that Planck's constant is found throughout the universe, and they talked about shapes a little bit, and how they correlate to our universe. And they said there was an E8 dimension, which is outside of our universe, basically the eighth dimension, and it is surrounding, or who knows, penetrating or within our universe, and whatever source behind the eighth dimension is shining energy of some sort through the eighth dimension, and we are the shadow of the eighth dimension, physically. And they went on to say in this video that is a quantum group, that there might be continuing dimensions on top of the 8th dimension, 9, 10, 11, and so on, that continue to cover each dimension below it, creating our world. And just as we, our shadows, create two-dimensional objects. And I mean, even a pencil, if you write on paper, the carbon from that pencil, or lead, if you're using a lead pencil, which nobody uses anymore, use carbon, is a three-dimensional object. This fine little piece of lead carbon. So it's really interesting, and the video just froze. Okay, there we go. So the main point I'm making is to correlate this with religion. I am Mormon, and I believe in surprisingly, evolution and science and math. The only reason I believe that is because there are loopholes in the Mormon religion that allow for this. In Moses 1 and Moses 2, which is part of the Pearl of Great Price, which is basically the writings that were translated from the Book of Mormon, that were inspired from God to Joseph Smith and put into a book. The Book of Moses is a translation of, I believe, Abraham talking about Moses in the Bible. So the Book of Moses is a translation of Abraham from the Bible, and the Book of Abraham. In the translated version of Moses, of Abraham, which is called the Book of Moses, in Moses 1 and Moses chapter 2, or 2, he talks about the doctrines of the church and the awesomeness of the creation and things like that, and it goes over Genesis and stuff like that, and basically God is talking to Moses, and if you've read the part of the Bible or seen the movie Moses, he goes, or even the cartoons, he goes up in a mountain and he sees this burning bush, and the burning bush is a representation of God. And God says, this is the verse I want you to remember, that I'll tell you the things of this earth. Right? So he is telling Moses the things of this earth. And I believe it's this time frame, this earth. Then he goes on to say in a few verses later, or chapter 2 of Moses, that if God tells Moses everything about the whole universe, he cannot finish his mission on earth, because it will be too much information. Basically, his head will explode, so he basically says he can't remain in the flesh on this earth if he tells them all this information. So he told Moses what he needed to know, what he wanted to know. And what Moses asked God was to show him basically everything. I want to know the mysteries of the universe, basically, is what he said. So God couldn't do that to a physical being, to a human, a faulty human, And so God gave him what he could give him, which was the earth from Adam to present day or future day, of earth, right? And so of humanity, so my theory is that before Adam, of course, there was previous things, other humans, other things that weren't quite as advanced as Adam, who, according to Genesis in the Bible, named every plant and animal, and named everything. According to Mormon doctrine, Adam was one of the spirits in heaven that helped to create with his ideas and things, the Earth. Okay, so going back to science and the theory of quantum theory and things of that nature, the shadow effect. So basically, what I'm saying is that in the creation story, God, according to Mormonism, God created spirits first. Spirits came first, right? And there's a spirit of the earth, and the spirit of the universe, of every planet, of every system, of everything. Spirits are the framework. Okay. Now, according to the quantum theory, there's this framework outside of our reality that allows for our reality to exist. Okay. So my theory again is that this theory of math, which is coming together with lots of popular mathematicians and theorists, that the theories are working with, that is the framework of the universe, is actually spiritual. They're theorizing spirits and spiritual things. The only thing we're missing is a lens or some type of device or system or ability to see the spirit outside of our universe, the eighth dimension. Okay, so until we get there, or until we devise a way to sense these things, there is a way. It's particle smashing with the Large Hadron Collider, but we can only see a tiny little bit of the particles, and that's where they came up with the theory of the eighth dimension, because this energy would pass, these waveforms would pass between each other, and there would be red light, then purple light, and other wave types, and other atoms, other electrons that would transfer between the range of electrons, light basically, and electricity. So when they smashed these particles together, they found these transitions between each other. And anyways, they came up with the theory of the eighth dimension because there was transfer of energy from one side to the other, and they had to make a working model of that in mathematics. So they made this theory of the eighth dimension, which, like I described, makes a shadow. We are physical. Our physical world is the shadow of the eighth dimension, and the ninth dimension is the construct of the eighth dimension, and so on. So whether there might be for us to be in, there might be multiple dimensions in us or with us in this universe. We can see them with microscopes and things. So I believe that we are living in a multi-dimensional universe. Now, whether you call a dimension, now the only difference between a dimension isn't something you pop in and out of, like on Star Trek, and it's an alternate universe. No. I don't believe that there is any alternate universe, twins of ourselves in some other space and time, or some other reality. There is a way to accomplish that, but not in our universe. the only way to accomplish that would be to, mimic exactly our consciousness to each individual consciousness of humans and everything in the universe, plants, animals, planets, galaxies, stars, everything, to using the eighth dimension or another dimension above it, projecting it into a new system. And in that sense, we would have twins of ourselves somewhere else, experiencing almost the same exact thing that we have, and then, using that ability to experience, what's the purpose of it? I don't know. But it would allow whatever or whoever is controlling this 8th dimension, 9th dimension, 10th dimension, to observe or experience or gather knowledge and experience from every possible outcome of every species or plant or animal, planet, or anything in the universe, suns, stars, and galaxies, gather the experience of each system through multiple projections of itself. And all I have to do is copy the data, which is light and matter and quanta, and all sorts of minuscule items, and as well as large items, but everything starts very, very small, and in that sense, I believe in. I believe that our universe, our physical universe, can be controlled by what I call the spirit, the 8th dimension, or more and more and more. And I mean, the multi-dimensional universe is infinite. So if it's infinite and ever growing and ever shrinking, ever expanding, and so on, there's no end to creation. There's no end to knowledge. There's no end to sorry for the shakiness. There's no end to anything. Everything lives forever. The consciousness of everyone lives forever. It's just, that's how it is. I'm not saying this because of my religion. I'm saying this because the math shows it, that we're getting closer and closer to a theory of everything. And infinity is part of that theory. And if this spirit or 8th dimension and so on has in its existence the programming to allow for our physical reality to exist, then why hasn't it already created multiple realities of ourselves or other systems to exist, and it has a copy of ourselves, of every bit about us, in its storage, in its physical workings, however physical you call it, Physical doesn't mean sense of touch, taste, smell, sight, sound. It doesn't. That's not what physical means. Physical means actual bits and pieces of something, whether it be an electron, a quark, a nuon, a gluon, anything. Smaller and smaller, all the way down to, in our existence, the Planck constant. But as well, in the eighth dimension, it might be even a smaller constant than the Planck constant, a smaller bit, a smaller pixel than the Planck constant. So, very interesting stuff. So that is my 20 minutes. I'm out. Have fun theorizing.